The number one question that I get asked the most is whether or not it's the right time to buy or sell real estate. Now, of course, as a realtor, that should be a pretty common question that people ask, but most of the time, the answer that I give them is different than the answer that I would give them today. So in today's video, we're going to go over whether or not it's the ideal time to buy a home. And to add some context, it is the fourth quarter of 2023, where it seems like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So if you're thinking about buying a home either now or in the near future, then this video more than likely is for you and will probably answer a few of the questions that you've been asking yourself. So let me start by saying that there are always two different types of people in the real estate market. There are those who want to buy or sell real estate, and there are those who have to buy or sell real estate. So if you're one of the people who are in the real estate market because you have to buy, let me start by saying that I feel your pain. It's not going to be an easy ride, but it can be done as long as you have the right team. Now, if you are someone who just wants to buy, it's probably not the best time for you to do that. And I'm going to give you at least 3 reasons why I think it might make sense for you to hold off. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, there's another reason that just came to mind. So let's just get right to it. And the first thing that comes to mind is inventory, or the lack of inventory. The reason the market has been crazy over the last few years has nothing to do with the interest rates. Yes, the low interest rates that we saw a few years ago really excited buyers and motivated them to become active, but that's not really what made the real estate market go crazy. What made the real estate market go crazy is the lack of inventory. And even though interest rates have gone up, there's still a demand that comes from buyers in a majority of the markets. But what has happened is, since the inventory is so low, it's created a frenzy where people are just making ridiculous offers, and that's why you hear people say that they had to offer well over asking just for their offer to be considered. Maybe they didn't even get the property, but just to be considered, they had to go well above asking, and maybe even remove contingencies that most buyers would want, like a home inspection or an appraisal contingency. So right now, inventory still remains relatively low. In this area, Philadelphia, we have roughly 47 homes on the market today. Now, that may sound like a large number, but there's over 700,000 homes in existence in Philadelphia, with only 4,000 of them being on the market. And to provide a little more context, or to look at it through a different lens, last year in 2022, there were over 80,000 homes sold in Philadelphia County. And the year before that, 2021, almost 96,000 homes. Now, in order for that to change, we need to see somewhere around, I'm going to say about 5 months worth of inventory. And I'm not going to go into the weeds about how those numbers are calculated, but right now we're seeing less than 2 months of inventory. And in order for it to be a reasonable or an average market, we need to see about 5 months of inventory. So if you're entering the real estate market right now because you want to buy a home, you are competing with the people who have to buy a home. And the people who have to buy a home have a vested interest, and it makes sense for them to outbid you however they have to. So right now, because of limited inventory, that's the first reason I would suggest not entering the real estate market as a buyer. The second reason I would suggest holding off on entering the real estate market right now are the home prices. Home prices have skyrocketed over the last few years. I mean, I've actually seen in some markets, home values or homes appreciate well into the double digits year over year, like 10, 15%. So homes that were $300,000 in the beginning of the year were worth almost $350,000 towards the tail end of the year. Some people don't even make that amount of money in their salary, but that's what we saw when it came to home values and appreciation over the last few years. And when you look at income and how income has remained static for the most part, we have not seen income increase anywhere nearly at the same pace that home values increased. So if income hasn't increased, but home values have doubled and almost tripled in some areas. It's not hard to see, or it's not a difficult picture to paint, that homes are just not affordable for the average person right now. So reason number 2 is home prices. Now, the third reason, elephant in the room, interest rates. As I mentioned earlier, interest rates are not what started the frenzy when it comes to the real estate market. But now that we are here, the compound effect of low inventory, insane home prices, and now interest rates that I've seen interest rates actually, I think just the other day, into the 8% range. As long as I've been selling real estate, 22 going on 23 years, I have never seen interest on a primary residence for an average consumer that high. Yes, maybe some private financing or hard money financing for some investments, seen interest that high, but never for a primary residence. So as I mentioned, as you step back and you take a look at the fact that, again, there's very low inventory. There are buyers who have a vested interest in buying a home, the buyers who have to move because they have either relocated, because of job, because of schools, lifestyle changes have forced them to buy a different home. They are, again, going to outbid. So low inventory, they're going to outbid the average buyer because they need to be in a home. So now they're going well above the list price because that's the name of the game. And they're doing it with a much higher mortgage interest payment, which right now, historically, people are paying more to live than they ever have. I mean, more than I think the average mortgage payment is somewhere around $2,300 on a national average. That's insane. That's insane. But to add some additional context, and as I mentioned, I was going to add in a fourth reason as to why you may not want to purchase. Right now in a lot of markets, and gosh, I hope I don't say this for much longer, it's actually cheaper to rent in some markets than it is to purchase. And I'm not talking about down payment and things along those lines, but just using simple numbers. If you were able to get in a home with either 100% financing or even 3% down, on average, the mortgage payment based off of interest, the mortgage payment for that mortgage very well could be more than renting a home in that same development. And to me, that's just wild. Never seen that before in my 23 years of selling real estate. So just a few other things to consider. Those are the factors that ultimately are the big ticket items when it comes to real estate in itself. But there's a lot of other things going on right now when it comes to economics or finances. And everything that we purchase, everything that we do is costing us more money. It's costing us more to eat. It's costing us more to commute. It's costing us more for our entertainment. It's costing us more to put clothes on our back. You get the point. It's costing us more to do all of these things. And when you apply for a mortgage, the mortgage company really only looks at your back end debt, the stuff that you have to pay, like your credit card, your car payment, all those things. But they don't look at your front end debt, which is, some of the things that you have to pay that aren't on your credit report, like your electric payment, your cell phone bill, your cable, all of those things. Ultimately, with all of those costs going up and homes not necessarily being affordable right now, I'm concerned for the average person. I'm concerned for the average person who can squeeze by with just enough money to get their foot in the door, and then something come up, whether it be they get sick, job loss, whatever it may be, and not have enough cushion to even stay in their home because it takes everything out of you right now to buy a home. So, and then lastly, we all know that there's a very fragile job market with speculation that unemployment is going to rise. So right now, my friends, right now in Q4 of 2023, I honestly believe that for the average person like myself, probably like the person watching this video, if you've made it this far, it just doesn't make sense. If there's anything that I can do, if you have questions about the real estate market specific to your needs, feel free to reach out. Let me know. As always, there's a buyer guide for you to download free in the description. There's also a link for you to carve out a 15-minute consultation with me. And with all of that said, if you haven't done so already, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead, subscribe, mash that bell. You know, you should know that by now. All those things help the YouTube algorithms. And as you can see, the channel is slowly growing, but you can help. So until next time, take care.